Inspired by an exhibit at the 9/11 Memorial Museum called Comeback Season, we wanted to share this segment with you. It is a day that lives in the hearts and minds of every American, many of us remembering how life seemed to stand still in the weeks that followed. Now, a new exhibition at the National 9/11 Memorial and Museum, Comeback Season, Sports After 9/11, looks at the role sports and athletes played in helping to support and unite the country during a time of unimaginable grief.
We all spend so much time in the city, and I'm pretty sure most of us have been to the World Trade Centers, and now you look and you see and they're gone, and all the people that were in them, and the people on the plane.
Our own Michael Strahan, then a defensive end for the New York Giants, along with his teammates, decided they wouldn't play any more games. Their fans needed them more off the field. With the whole country in mourning, the NFL postponed all games set for that Sunday.
For us as players, this is so secondary. Football is so secondary right now. I think New York City and the country needs to be behind everybody with the effort of trying to save as many people as possible and trying to get the city back on its feet.
The team instead bringing supplies to Ground Zero, visiting firehouses and first responders to offer support. In the days and weeks that followed, many began answering the president's call.
Americans are asking what is expected of us. I ask you to live your lives.
Games resuming, fields and stadiums filling, paying tribute to the fallen, and giving everyone something to cheer for. With baseball's return to New York City at Shea Stadium, Mike Piazza's game-winning home run was not just for the New York Mets, but for a city refusing to surrender. The nation watching President Bush throwing out the first pitch at Game 3 of the World Series. And the very first game Michael and the Giants played after 9/11 in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Kansas City welcoming New York with cheers and love.
Kansas City loves New York. That is right. And I want to welcome Tiki, Barber, and Amani, Toomer, my former teammates from that season. What's up, fellas?
How you doing?
Good to see you guys. And I mean, I have my vivid memories from then, but what was your first memory, your first thoughts when you heard about what happened on 9/11?
Well, I lived in New York at the time. I think I was one of the few guys that lived in the city, and I felt scared, to be honest with you. Coming home, driving through the Lincoln Tunnel after the game in Denver, we played on Monday night, and we came back on Tuesday morning, and just feeling in this eerie. I don't know. It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And especially after the plane started crashing into the World Trade Center, and then in Washington D.C., you felt like the entire nation was under attack and didn't know where to go.
Something that no one had ever experienced at that time. And Amani, how was it for you?
I remember sitting in my apartment, watching the towers burning, and then with the F-16s flying up and down the peninsula of Manhattan. It was, I felt like it was World War III. I thought we were out at war, watching the TV just to try and figure out what was going on, what was the next step. But I just loved the way New York kind of came together, and it was a special time to be in New York because you saw the resilience of everybody coming back and the strength of New York as a city. And I just really remember, that's one of the vivid memories I have of that situation.
And this was like, it was a situation we were able to go downtown soon after, like the next weekend, because I know we were all very adamant that we weren't going to play football that day.
No.
That next weekend.
You were the player rep, right?
I was the player rep.
You were the player rep, and the Jets player reps went to the commissioner, went to the NFL, and said, we can't play.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the smoldering remains of the tower were across from our practice field. And I always tell this story. There were cars in our parking lot that never left. MetLife Stadium, or not MetLife, it was at the time Giant Stadium, was a commuter lot to go into New York City. And I remember coming out a week later and like, these cars are still here, and they're never going to leave. And so to have played a football game that week wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah, I agree. But when we did come back, we went to Kansas City, We played the Chiefs.
Yes.
And, the Midwest, you're from Iowa, but you know the sensibility.
And my nephew, who Tiki knows, is in Kansas City, so I have to be partial to the Chiefs as well.
Well, after that game and after being there, I was partial to the Chiefs. The way that they opened their arm to us and welcomed us, and they had the firemen helmets and boots that went around that was filled with money from all the fans were just donating money. All of that money was then matched by the team. And it was just a very, very special moment for all of us to be there. And as you said, Amani, the resilience and the way everybody, not just here in New York, but in the country, came together was the one thing that I'll never forget.
I remember Tabidi Davis saluting, right? They had us line up and do for the national anthem. That was one of the first times we did that. And he was saluting, he started crying, and we're getting ready to play a game, and he's crying, and it's just a very uncomfortable situation. So that's one of the memories I have as well.
Tragedy brings out that resilience, though, in this country, but in this city specifically.
Yeah, in the city specifically. And if you go down to the World Trade Center Memorial and Museum, the comeback season exhibit is amazing. It talks about how sports help bridge that divide from the tragedy to feeling normal again. And Piazza's home run was one of those things that made everybody want to cheer again. For so long, we just didn't want to cheer. We didn't want to. It gave us license to be happy and to be distracted from all the tragedy that was going on.
Yeah, pretty amazing time. Sports became a distraction, but at the same time, it put sports and everything else into perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Amani, Tiki.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.